Happening right now, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is on Capitol Hill testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee as Republicans investigate sanctuary cities and their policies. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Scafidi. Mayor Johnston has been answering lawmakers' questions since 8 this morning. Mayors from New York, Chicago, and Boston are also testifying. Johnston's testimony is voluntary, but he would likely have been subpoenaed if he didn't agree to go willingly. Denver saw and helped tens of thousands of migrants who came to the city starting in late 2022. In his opening statement, he addressed Denver's mission to help these people and the responsibility he feels to create a solution.
We are each entitled to our own opinion about what should happen at the border, but that was not the question facing Denver. The question Denver faced was, what will you do with a mom and 2 kids dropped on the streets of our city with no warm clothes, no food, and no place to stay? As mayor, I have to protect the health and safety of everyone in our city. As a man of faith, I have a moral obligation to care for those in need.
The hearing is expected to continue for a few more hours. Our own Kyle Clark is in D.C. right now listening in. He'll be breaking all of that down later today on 9 News. Americans are still talking today about President Trump's first address to a joint session in Congress since taking office again. It's typically seen as a time for national unity. Last night, the president touted his accomplishments since taking office and criticized Democrats for failing to recognize what his administration has done.
As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe and an inflation nightmare. Their policies drove up energy prices, pushed up grocery costs, and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans. They've never had anything like it.
In his speech, the president also touted the tariffs he imposed on Canada, Mexico, and China as a way to, quote, make America rich again. He also defended his handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict after a contentious meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky last week. Many Democrats visibly showed their dissent. A few lawmakers walked out, and one was even ejected from the chamber for shouting and interrupting. Democratic representative from Colorado, Joe Neguse, stayed for the whole thing.
Over the course of the coming weeks and months, we're going to have to continue to be creative and strategic about how we respond to these unlawful directives and agency actions that are really harming Coloradans.
While many Democratic lawmakers expressed their unhappiness with Trump's address, a new CNN poll shows 7 in 10 people who watched the speech last night had a somewhat positive reaction. The Trump administration says federal agencies can now decide whether or not to dismiss probationary employees. The administration revised a memo to specify that agencies make the decision, not the Office of Personnel Management. And there are still plans to trim employment at agencies, including the Internal Revenue Service. The New York Times reports the IRS is getting ready to cut as much as half of its staff, nearly 2 weeks after the agency fired 7,000 probationary employees, but no timeline right now is known. Troopers shut down Highway 34 this morning after a driver claimed there was a bomb in the car. It happened during a traffic stop just before 1 a.m. Authorities closed the highway and called it a bomb squad. They spent several hours on scene and ultimately determined there were no explosives inside. The road was opened shortly after that at 6 a.m., and the driver was detained for DUI. A boy missing for 7 years will be reunited with his family after being found in Douglas County last week. The Douglas County Sheriff showed body camera video today of deputies finding 14-year-old Abdul Khan while investigating a potential burglary at a home in Highlands Ranch. Police say one of the people inside the house was the boy's non-custodial parent. That is Rabia Khalid. She is accused of taking Khan in 2017 from Atlanta, Georgia. Khalid and the man with her during that burglary were arrested. A teenager is accused of bringing an explosive device to Ponderosa High School in Parker yesterday. We told you during Tuesday's new newscast the school was swept and no devices were found. But later in the afternoon, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office says a device was found in the teen's backpack. We've asked for more information about that device. One of the people charged with improperly storing nearly 200 bodies at a Southern Colorado funeral home will stand trial after withdrawing her guilty plea. Carrie Halford and her husband John owned the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose. Last year, they both pleaded guilty to wire fraud in federal court. They were expected to receive a prison sentence between 6.5 to 15 years. Last week, a judge decided the plea agreement was not in the public interest, so they were given the option to accept a new plea agreement which would add more time to their sentences, or reject it and head to trial. John opted to keep his guilty plea. He's set to be sentenced in a little more than 2 weeks. A trial date for Carrie has not yet been set. Both pleaded guilty in state court to 190 counts of abuse of a corpse. Right now, we are taking a live look out at Loveland Pass. It is definitely looking a lot snowier right there than it is right here at the station. Joining me now is Keely Chalmers with our 9 News Weather Impact team. Keely, while there is snow there, we've got sunshine here.
Yeah, we got a ridge of high pressure building in, and that is giving us a nice, quiet, sunny day compared to yesterday with those winds gusting close to 60 miles per hour out at DIA, 70 miles per hour out in Lyman. But yeah, light winds. We've got beautiful blue skies, and it is gorgeous outside right now. Live look out over downtown Denver, and we are quiet. Winds out of the south-southeast, 8 miles per hour. 47 degrees as we head into the 50s for high temperatures today. Mostly sunny, our forecast. We're looking at reaching a high right around 54 degrees. We do have increasing clouds and a little bit of moisture moving in once again overnight in the form of some light rain here in the metro area overnight, possibly some thunderstorms to the north of us. Here's a look at your forecast for the metro area. We are staying in the mid-50s rather, all the way through 4 o'clock, and then again increasing clouds as we head into the evening hours. Taking a live look at our radar, we're quiet. Again, that ridge of high pressure keeping storms out of our area at least for now. So the sunshine, that tops a look at our weather headlines. Mountain snow, again, we do have that winter storm watch in effect, and that goes through Saturday. We'll talk more about that and the chance for some metro snow as well. All those details coming up in your complete forecast in just a bit.
Keely, thank you so much. The court is ready for the Nuggets tonight as they host the Sacramento Kings. Here's a live look inside Ball Arena right now. You get to watch all of the action for free here on 9 News or on KTVD.